Did rich people create jobs just to keep the poor busy? Today I'm going to ask a question about this topic. Before I just get into this issue, I want to analyze and I want to say that I created it by the ChatGPT. In the near future, probably people will use the ChatGPT as a tool in order to just create more prompts, more or just text prompts, and it will be normal. But in nowadays, it's being perceived as a extraordinary and people are just trying to not accept it. But I think it's very dangerous. This is very not common here. Okay. Firstly, I want to read and I want to analyze my comments about this issue. Okay. Rich people create jobs in order to keep poor people busy. It sounds like a meme, but when you still with it, it's more than just a sentence. It's a systematic accusation, and today we will explore if there's a truth behind it. The core statements. Let's think about it slowly. Jobs are supposed to be good, right? They give people income, purpose, and structure. But what if they are also a distraction? What if the job system isn't just about productivity but about control? Who benefits most when everyone is too tired, too busy, or too scared to revolt? Okay, according to me, a job system is really a control-based statement, because when you are going to a job, when you are working for someone else, you are understanding that you are being a slave for the system. Even I am here, I have a job, and I am also a slave for the system. Your emotions, your thoughts, your experiences are just time of wasting. People do not care about you. People really care about the system. Actually, the making money is not the key here. Mostly the rich people create the jobs in order to keep poor people busy with that, and they give them the meaning. If you want to be rich, you need to study hard, you need to work hard, you need to work 9-5. And if you work 9-5, you can go to place, you can get to place where you want to be. So I think it's all about lie. Because when you think like that, when you start to work, the rich people making more money than you before you notice, because you are working for them. And you think like one day you can be like them. But it is impossible. Mostly the content creators, they are trying to be looking rich, but actually they are not rich. I was just watching Instagram reels, and I analyzed some people on there. They're watching the TV series and they're just making reels about being rich, being looking like a rich, but it isn't. So it was just a concept. So if you wanna be rich, first look rich. Yeah, the statement is very control based. Okay. So I think the job system is only the advantage for the rich people. Okay, if you are busy with something and if you give the meaning to money, okay, if you give the meaning to money, for example, the gold, the gas, you need to work. If you work harder, if you just give the proverbs for that, like in the Chinese culture, probably the people will start to work and they will think like, if I work and I will be support the society. Actually not. Rich people will enjoy their suites, their yachts while you are working and while you are giving the extraordinary meaning to your life. Okay, like the soldier system, right? Actually, I really tired of speaking in the Turkish language. Therefore, I prefer to speak in the English language rather than the Turkish language, because I just really bored, When the country is collapsing, people just starting to admire the other cultures. For example, in Turkey, the economy is collapsing. The $1 is equal to 40 Turkish liras. And everybody wants to escape from this country. Nobody wants to live here. I want to be real, guys. I want to put something table to real. But people are starting to live here because the other people, the tourists, are coming here, for example, and they're judging them. Like they are going to Afghanistan, they're going to Syria, and they are making fun of with the locals. And they think like they are tourists and they can do whatever they want. Not because of they are free, but because of they have money. They think like they are different. I was watching a lot of content creators online, like for example. Okay, who can give the names? Like, for example, I just want to open a YouTube video for her. Yeah, like the Ijla, like she was just from Turkey, right? She was from Turkey. Okay. Okay. The Ijla was the Turkish polyglot. But after I realized her, I understand that she stopped to create a content in Turkish language. You know why? You don't know why, and I will explain why. Because Turkish culture is subordinate culture now. There's an effect from the Persian and Iran, maybe other cultures, and therefore nobody wants to speak in Turkish. Even the content creators are changing their location. For example, when I checked the Ijla, she just changed location to Italy. But she's Turkish, right? But she's trying to speak in English rather than Turkish. When the country is collapsing, like they are just being, or for example, yeah, she's coming to Turkey and she's also just creating content in Turkish language. Okay, whatever she can do, but I want to say the real things, like she's just mostly creating content in the English language, right? For what, like they are saying, oh, we just learn the languages and like etc. But I think it's better because English language is very universal language. Even the Turkey, some people cannot understand the English, so the message should reach the not the low level IQ, it's a bit of high level IQ. Therefore, you need to speak in English. It's better. Because the Turkish community, according to my opinion, they are very aggressive and their IQ is a bit low when you compare to Europe. Yeah, I feel like not a Turkish, because when you burn here in the Turkey, you need to get into the community, like the Turkish community, even you don't want. Even you're from Afghanistan, right? You need to get into the Afghan community because of you're from Afghanistan. I think it's a real lie, and nobody, for example, you have burned in Afghanistan. Do you like Afghanistan, guys? For example, the Turkish community just blaming the Afghanistan and they are very poor, they are making fun of even the Turkish community. But if you have a chance to burn there, you could have been burned in Afghanistan. What are you gonna do if you burn in Afghanistan? Nothing. You need to accept your chance, you need to accept your bolt, etc. But when a lot of things are happening in Turkey, I really get bored of it, and I thought maybe I need to create a channel which I just only use the English for my views, for my thoughts. And there are a lot of fashion weeks, for example, I have seen. Let's continue. The Marxist angel. According to Karl Marx, the capitalist class, those who own the factories, machines, and land, don't just profit from labor. They design the entire structure of society to keep that labor flowing. Work becomes compulsory, not creative. You don't work because you want to. You work because if you don't, you starve. In Marx's view, workers are not free. They are just wage slaves in the system built to maintain the privilege of the elite. The worker becomes all the poorer the more wealth he produces. Okay. This text is very true, because if you just stop the work, probably you will starve. I'm here, I'm coming to work every day, but I understand and I know that if I quit my job, probably I will suffer a lot and I won't have any chance to study here. When your country is collapsing, for example, economically, the people here will start to judge others and every politician will get into the jail. And when you say the opposite, it won't change. Because in the society in Turkey, they are not very developed. I'm not saying like that I am different from them, not, because the reason is, even you work, even you study so hard, for example, you are in the Turkish community, right? You want to change your country, right? Because you don't like your country. Actually, you like your country, but the one thing is, the economy here is not good. The most people wants to change their location. Not only me, others. But we need to just don't talk about too much about the country. We need to talk about the rich and poor competition. The rich people create the jobs in order to keep poor people busy, and it's really good, and it's really true. If you just don't go to the work, you will starve in your house. And your action, if you are poor people, will underestimate you. Okay, you are riding on a bus, right? Look at your stuffs, look at your clothes. If your clothes are dirty, people will start to starving you, and they will think, oh my gosh, he doesn't even have a just proper clothes. How he can ride on this bus? If your rich level became more than before, you need to get a car. But before you get a car, you need to buy a motorbike. After you buy a motorbike, you will buy a car, and you will buy a house, and the life will end. When I see the content creators, they are doing different, and they are doing very, very great contents. And it's really appreciates for him, and it's a really good idea for them. Yeah, maybe I need to create a channel which I only speak in English. And for David Graeber, bullshit jobs. The late anthropologist David Graeber made the bold claim: capitalism has created meaningless jobs just to keep people working. Endless middle management, paper pushing rules, jobs that even workers admit are useless. Why do they exist? Why do they exist? Because a system of idle people is dangerous. If you had time to think or reflect, organize, maybe you would challenge the system itself. I think it's really true. Even the World War II and the Industrial Revolution, when the fabric workers started to check each other, they were only the systems and they are closed panels. If you don't have panel, probably you need to speak with other people, and you can organize. You can just get into the party, and you can just start the revolution for the government, for the administration. That's the reason why rich people do not want you to organize, and they are keeping you poor. And when you go to job, you are trying to go to job, and you're just trying to buy iPhone 3 or iPhone 15. But before you buy iPhone 15, people have already bought the iPhone 16. That's the reason why the things are happening now. If you don't poor people idle like dangerous, they can start a civil war for the administration, like all the generations, all the other countries did. That's the reason why we just create the jobs. Mostly, when you check the underdeveloped countries like the Mexico, like the Turkey, the working hours are very long. Why? Because they want to keep people busy with the thing. There are no weekends. You need to only work. If you want to just define yourself, mostly people here defining themselves with their jobs, which is very aggressive, which is very unhate, which is very ridiculous, and which is very absurd. I do not understand why people just choosing to define themselves with their jobs. As of time wasting. The psychological angel. Keeping the poor busy isn't just economic, it's psychological. Busy people don't protest. Busy people don't organize. Busy people don't imagine another world. When you are drained by a 10-hour shift and a 2-hour commute, you don't start a revolution. You watch Netflix. That's not laziness. That's strategic exhaustion. It's really right. If you don't have free time, you cannot protest. If you want to organize, you need time. If you are working 10-hour shift, and if it's really hard to get the exact tools, the capitalist tools, So you will be expelled from society, from the captures, and you will analyze whether the system is true or not. If you are not rich enough, you cannot outrun the system. Oh, for example, my mother is really sick, okay? She's suffering in house, and there is no food in my house. If I don't work, how I can get a food? How? How? Okay, let's think I don't work. How I can get a food? It's really impossible, right? Everybody busy with their jobs and they cannot even just hit their hits, and they cannot start a organization, start a civil war because they have lack of money. How you can find the money like the Mussolini? You cannot. You need the capitals. Modern capitalism control like no less burial. Not all jobs are bad. Doctors, teachers, engineers, we need them. But capitalism has a tendency to turn everything into labor. Even hobbies now become side hustles. Even sleep becomes part of your productivity schedule. That's not freedom, that's economic totalitarianism. Exactly. For example, teacher jobs, doctors, and engineers. If you wanna, do you wanna be a teacher? No. Why? When you became a teacher, you are just teaching the students how they can act, how they should react, how they should behave. But their parents are coming to school and they are blaming you. Why you make this? Why you make this? It's my child. It's my child. I never wanna be teacher in my life, brother. Being a teacher is really a bad job in this world, because if you are a teacher, their parents will judge you. Are you a good teacher? For example, you are a teacher and you are going to nightlife. They will judge you. If you are a nurse, it's okay, understandable. Some jobs are really hateable. Okay, let's continue. Counter-arguments. Of course, not everyone agrees with this cynical view. Some say jobs are opportunities, that employment lifts people out of poverty. Not all rich people are exploiters. Fair points. But we have to ask who decides which jobs are valuable and why are the people doing the hardest work like cleaning, caregiving, farming so underpaid? Okay. So mostly we need, if you want a good job, you need to get a degree, right? Like the diploma. The YouTube is best place, like everybody's talking about the diploma is shit and diploma not shouldn't be at the country and everything should be temporary. But some say jobs are opportunities. No, like okay, I will say why. Because if you work, for example, if you're working as a farmer, right? The class change is really impossible in Turkey. If you want to change your class in Germany, and it's really easy. And if you work, you can change your class. But in Turkey, it's really hard to change your class. When you are in a low-level class and you are getting a low-paid, underpaid, and there aren't enough jobs for the people. The jobs are very limited, even in Turkey. If you want to get a good job, probably you need to pay more. But your life, your energy is getting undervalued by the society. For example, you are a farmer, right? If you are a farmer, you need to work from morning to night. So can you change your class? It's nearly impossible. You need to get a degree. Or you can get a degree while working in that conditions. Nobody wants to live in a village. Because village is really bad idea for people. Well, I wish I just write my own book. Yeah. Commentary. Okay, this is my commentary. We don't hate work, we hate meaningless. Okay, let's get the closing. If universal basic income become real tomorrow, would your life actually begin? Do you believe automation should reduce work hours, or will it just make the rich richer? Okay, if I get the conclusion, I need to say things. All of things are created for the rich people in order to make them rich and in order to control their society. Okay, if you are working 9 hours or 10 hours a day, can you change your location? No. Some people need to change, some people need to work, and some people have free time. Rich people just buying the free time while the other poor people are working. It's really hate, like they are buying the time, energy, which you cannot buy. So sometimes even you are jealous of them. If there is no system for buying a free time, probably I don't want to be count in that system, but I hate to because my family is very poor. What I can do, I don't have any capital. If I had the capital, I would make them rent and get out free time. Well, the only way is sometimes going to asylum. If you're living a really shit life, you have only one chance to seek asylum. Don't take it as a cowardness. Take it as an opportunity. Do you want, and at the end, everybody will die, brother. At the end, everybody will die. Do you want to die in the poor conditions or do you want to die rich? Choose one of them. So give me a decision about it. Thank you for watching until now. So I will close it and see you on the next video.